But welcome. Hope you guys had a great conference. We were just saying it just went by in a whirlwind this year, it feels like. I can't believe it's the last day. I'm leaving in like 5 hours. But we're really grateful that you're here today with us. It's going to be a fun session. We're going to cover seamless mobile data workflows. And I'm Ted Wasserman. I'm a product manager on our mobile team. I've been at Tableau for about 5 years, working on all different parts of the product. But now I work more exclusively on our mobile products. And I'm joined here by my colleague, Zach.
Yeah, Ted and I work together on a number of different things in mobile. I also work on some server stuff that we're gonna take a look at today. This little picture, Ted and I, from last night at the party. Did you guys go to the party? Yeah? Yeah? Was good? Yeah, I always find that conferences are really a great place for new experiences. I learn a lot of things. One of the things that I learned last night at the party is this woman here in the middle. Her name is Candy with black hair. She works on our team also. She does data-driven alerting. They put up a slide in their session, which is like a backlog discussion slide, and then they have people vote on their phone to see what resonated the best with the customers in the audience.
Cool. And
yeah, it was a good idea. And then they had a viz, and they showed like polling results live. Like, well, you know what should we go work on next? So for data alerts, it turns out that the thing that was on the bottom of the slide was the thing that everybody voted for. And even though we said it was not ordered, we just took the order we already had and put it in the slide. So for me, data is a tool to begin a discussion, like a dialogue, about how we could change things, how could we make things better. So you start with some data, you add a little dialogue to it, and the dialogue is the human part, right? I mean, data by itself, what is the value? What it leads to is improvement. The purpose of having this data is to improve ourselves, to get better at what we do, to make us better at work, to make us better at collaborating with each other. So, by the end of this session, you're going to walk away with a few things. I hope there will be very tasty. A recipe for success. We're going to talk about mobile data experiences. We're going to have some ways that you can kind of stay up to date as your data is changing. And we'll talk about anywhere, anytime access to data. We'll also save some time at the end for Q&A. Yes.
That sounds great. And so today we're going to cover a bunch of things, maybe more at a higher level, and show you how you can weave them together. Of course, we have sessions that go deeper into each topic. And so here are the sessions. There's still one left or two left later today, but they're all being recorded. So even if you haven't had a chance to get to these sessions, you'll be able to see them on the replay. So for more details about some of these topics, we highly recommend you check out our colleagues who are presenting these in other sessions. So with that, we're going to get started. And so we've heard from a number of you. You have mobile users out in the field, right? They're doing things. They want to be, up to date. They want to get access to their data no matter where they are. And so I'm going to sort of transform into alter ego Ted, okay? I'm going to sort of replay what I've heard from many of you and what many of your users want when they're out on the road.
We'll see if this is realistic.
All right? Let's see. It's a little bit of an exaggeration, but we're going to see. All right?
We'll see how it goes.
Let's see. All right, so let me get into character. Alter ego Ted. I'm a sales manager in our East region, supporting a sales team and all my customers. All right, so give me some inspiration here, Zach.
Are you guys ready? Are you ready for alter ego Ted? Yeah, okay. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, all right, here it comes. Cover your eyes.
That guy looks busy. He's determined, right? He's got purpose. So I'm going to get into alter ego Ted. Maybe we can go over to my phone there.
Yep. You ready for a demo?
We're gonna act this out for just a minute here. Oh my God, the traffic to get here today was crazy. What is wrong with these drivers? I'm late, almost late for my call. I have 1 minute to prepare. My rep just called me. He said he's going to be late or maybe not even show up. I'm taking the sales call by myself. I guess I need to prepare. That Zach guy, that analyst, said he sent me some report I could look at. It's in my email here. Oh, there it is. I guess I found it. Oh, God. Spreadsheet? You kidding me?
He said he
Is
wanted
this
a
like
report.
1990? All right, let me open that. Where are my glasses? I can't see this. How is this usable for me? All right, let me try and see if I can get any insight. Well, forget it. This is not helpful at all. I guess I'll give up. I'll just go in there, do what I always do, close that deal, move on to the next one. End scene. All right, so Zach.
That was well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was well done. That was
I have a career as a salesperson.
Yeah.
Okay, it's very clear.
You were seriously busy.
I know. So what did you hear in that, though? Like, what were the main takeaways you heard from that?
It was pretty obvious that Ted is busy. Ted does not have time to mess around. He's not going to be like, oh, man, I'm going to dig into this data on my phone. He doesn't want to do that. He's got a place to be. He's got a deal to close. He doesn't have time. So he needs it to be simple, quick, easy to access. He needs to access the data while he's on the go. That's what I heard.
Awesome. So what are we going to do?
Well, how about this? I have some ideas about how we could improve Ted's data experience by creating a mobile version of his content. How about that?
Let's do it.
Let's do that. Okay, guys. Mobile data experiences. How many of you are doing mobile dashboard design today? Yeah? That's pretty good, like 3/4 or so. So whenever I do this, and I've been building dashboards on mobile for a little while, I think of it in kind of two patterns. So there's the Mexican food pattern, and you go to a Mexican food restaurant, and you get to order what? Like, pretty much whatever you want. So Ted, he's from Austin, he likes tacos. That's probably what he's gonna have. That's what they have for breakfast in Austin. Me, I'm from New Mexico. Does anybody know what you eat if you're from New Mexico? No, enchiladas. That's like the thing. Enchiladas, Christmas. Like you get the red sauce, you get the green sauce. You get it together. So the other approach is the pizza approach. We call it the pizza approach. With the Mexican food approach, you got to have people that know how to make every single dish on the menu. It takes time, takes specialization. With pizza, you can feed like 5 people with one thing, right? So simpler, easier. Device optimizing the dashboard is sort of what I think of as the Mexican food approach. So if I've got a dashboard, like in this example, we're looking at this one in the back. This is an admin dashboard from Tableau server. And it breaks down the way all of the storage is being used by different data sources and workbooks on the server. And you can see it's got like a ton of stuff in it. Look at all these parameters. Oh, I can filter like 5 different ways. And it's got bar chart after bar chart after bar chart, deep data exploration. You gotta love it on your 30-inch monitor. You're digging through all this stuff. But it just doesn't work on mobile. Like it's too much content. People aren't gonna make the time to go through that kind of depth exploration on their phones. They just don't do it. They kind of live in moments. So for this case, I actually redesigned that dashboard. And down here on the right is an example of how you might make something like this look on a mobile device. So what I've done is kind of reinterpreted the content to try and answer a core question. Like, what is the main thing do you think that you're probably doing with a dashboard that's looking at storage on your server? Any ideas? Anyone want to offer an idea? Looking for the space hogs. Yeah, if you're doing it on your desktop, you're probably like doing an audit, maybe checking for people that are using more than they should. If you're doing it on mobile, what are you doing? Like what? Yeah, right. Like we have a problem. Something is wrong. So likely there's one thing that is really different today than it was yesterday. So that's kind of the way I thought about it. Well, could I make it possible for people to see that one big thing that's really different now? So I've got like the total size, and then these tree maps are really good for visualizing, like if there's one big kind of off-track thing. So that's what I'd call like optimizing for the 80% use case. And then the way that I got there, it's the same data, I just reduced it down. And you may hear people talk about this. It's sort of reductionist user experience. That's the phrasing that you'll hear people use. But the idea is you just take away everything you can, like everything you can live without. You just take it out. And especially useful for mobile. A couple of things that I found are pretty important in most cases. I kind of needed to optimize the vizzes themselves. So even though it's the same data, I went with a tree map. So that meant I had to duplicate the viz. So if you're using Device Designer today, that means you know that you can just move them around and change the layout. But also, in this case, I wanted to have a very custom presentation on my mobile device, so I duplicated the vizzes. The other thing that I run into a lot is making sure that it works the way you expect it to. And doing that just like in the context of the device is really important, that testing in the context of the device. There are a few other tips on this slide for how you can do this. So let's talk about pizza. So what's the pizza approach? Here's another dashboard. In this case, this one is work items assigned to me. Don't look at the number. You don't want to know how many work items are assigned to me. This dashboard is designed so that it automatically scales. So are there folks in the audience who want responsive design? Yes, yes, yes. So you can sort of mimic responsiveness by choosing good settings in the dashboard itself, treating it a little bit more like a web layout or a web page. Now, you're not going to get pieces of the dashboard to move relative to each other. That would be really nice. It'd be a really good feature. But what you can do is just design it so that the dashboard grows and shrinks with the width of the screen. And if you fit it to the screen, and then you design it to grow and shrink, and then treat it like a page, top to bottom, then you can get a pretty good experience. And I also have these dashboards on my phone. After the session, if you'd like to come up and take a look at them or poke at them, you're welcome to do that. A challenge, maybe a cost that you pay with an approach like this, is that you can't do quite as much in any specific use case. So if I'm looking at the deep data exploration and the analytics, you give up some of those things because they make it harder to access in the context of the phone. The complication makes it more difficult to access. Okay, so let's do a quick device designer demo. In this example, we got this dashboard here. Raise your hand if you believe this dashboard is going to look amazing on a phone. Come on, hands up, everybody. I want to see. No? All right. Well, let's see what we have. I've actually got it here on this phone. Here's the dashboard. Does that look amazing? I'm amazed. I'm amazed at how bad it looks. That's terrible. If I tap on it, we'll see the load. Oh, I get the big loady spinner. That must mean that I'm going to get a really nice mobile optimized version of this viz. Let's see. Loading, loading, loading.
Is our conference Wi-Fi not?
Conference Wi-Fi is not participating.
Put it on port 3G mode maybe if the Wi-Fi is down.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
So pretty small, a little bit hard to see, difficult to interact with. So if I'm going to do something here, like touch targeting, how am I going to do anything on this viz? How am I going to see or do the things that I need to do to answer the questions that I need to answer with my data? So let's take a look at what we could do maybe to mobile optimize it. Here's the dashboard, already downloaded it in Tableau Desktop. This is, as you can see, kind of fit to a page. On the left-hand side, we've got the device preview button in the dashboard pane. This device preview button, when you turn it on, it will show you what the dashboard dimensions might look like on a number of different devices. So we're looking at default right now. If I change the device type to desktop, you can see desktops are huge. Right? Like they go on and on and on and on and on. This gray line here represents the desktop. Holy cow. It goes, whoops, all the way over here. Like, look at that. That's incredible, right? I mean, it's so big. What happens if I look at it on a tablet? Look at it on a tablet, well, now it doesn't fit. It doesn't quite fit. But it's kind of close, right? It's kind of close. So what do you say? Let's try the pizza approach, right? What is the pizza approach? It kind of one size fits all. In this case, I'm just going to fit the whole thing directly into this box. So that box isn't showing you exactly what it's going to look like on a tablet. It's showing you what the dimensions of the tablet are, so you can see what that screen is. Let's go ahead and add a tablet layout. We have to do this in order to tell Tableau that it's going to optimize the content for a specific device. You'll see it shows up over here on the left. And then in this case, I'm going to just change this layout semantic to say fit all. You see it'll just smash everything down into the size of the screen. So that's the pizza approach. Now everything is inside there. Pretty straightforward, right? That's pretty easy to do. In the case of this dashboard, seems to work okay. What about on a phone? How's this going to look? That's probably not going to work. Let's see. Sure enough, you can see the gray line on the phone. It's way over on one side. This is a pretty good indicator the content's not well mobile optimized. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and use the Mexican food approach. We're going to a la carte design this thing. We're going to do it using reductionist principles. So a good way to do reduction is to start with 0. It is hard to start with what you have and go down. And the reason is because people have an attachment, an emotional attachment to what they've already got. And then you have a kind of a discussion about each and every piece of content. It's much easier to do something like this, where you go, am I on the default? Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, that's the default layout. Thank you, Ted. Desktop, tablet, phone. Add my phone layout. Thank you, Ted. Turns out Ted knows more about this than he pretended earlier. Aha. So I'm going to reduce everything out of the dashboard. I'll take all of these things away. Each of these things has a unique purpose. It's interesting for someone at some time. But we're going to pick just a few things for this mobile use case. So now that I've got rid of most of that stuff, I'll keep the logo, that's fine. I'm going to apply fit width. So again, this is that page approach. So making it fit horizontally. And then everything that we're going to put in there will stretch this way. So that'll be fine. It'll work on phone screens of different sizes. Phones do come in different sizes. Let's go ahead and add the order size. This is something that I know this TED guy likes to see. So he likes to see this average order size. He's got a sales team that he works with regularly, really nice guy. He likes to congratulate people when they meet their goals. So average order size is one of those things they like to follow. And it turns out that people kind of sell in different places. So he likes to be able to explore the data just a little bit. So I've been talking to Ted. Ted, what is the least you could deal with? You know, like what is the main scenario? He says, well, I really want to know about the order size, and I want to see where those salespeople have been doing their work. Great. So I've added those two things. Let's go ahead and size this guy down a bit. I can do something like nice, like center it, because you know, on the mobile device, a lot of stuff is by nature kind of center is a better place for it to be. People use their left hand, they use their right hand. On a desktop, it's kind of nice to start in the upper left-hand corner and work top to bottom. But on mobile, center is a kind of a good experience. The last thing is Ted really needs to know about products. He needs to be able to kind of filter the different product lines. But now we have a problem. Product is a lot of stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this parameter display from a list to a dropdown. So it uses a little bit less space. I can also hide the title. This is a really nice little trick you can do that reclaims quite a bit of visual space. I'm always trying to optimize like every little pixel on the mobile device. And now we have something that looks like a pretty decent little mobile dashboard that'll solve a very specific use case. So let's go ahead and publish that back up to the server, publish the workbook, and you get a neat little bonus out of this. So if you're selecting the phone layout at the time you do the publish, Tableau will use that image as the tile to show the workbook on the server. So now we look at the preview, and you can see that the preview is this nice little map. It's kind of mobile optimized. It's got a nice centered image, so it's kind of neat. Now if I click on this thing, I would expect that it's going to give me the desktop view, because that's what I want on my desktop, right? And if I go to my mobile device, let's see how it looks over there. Here's the same dashboard. Let's go ahead and reload it. When I reload the dashboard this time, hopefully it's faster. Hopefully it's faster. Yeah, it's faster. Great. So is this better? Yeah, cool. We could do a little side-by-side comparison just kind of by looking at the snapshot here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's better?
It's a lot better.
It's a lot better. Come on up here, Ted.
Question.
Yeah.
Can you author for a landscape iPhone environment?
Yeah, well, this pattern actually works pretty well for that. Ted locked the rotation on the phone, so I can't show you. But this pattern works pretty well for that if you're using the fit width. And I could show you some examples of that. Anyone who wants to see, come up after, and I could show you this design technique that works. You can't choose a different layout for portrait and landscape. That feature is not built yet. But if that's the kind of thing that you really need to do, I'd love to talk about it more.
The other thing to keep in mind too is most people who are holding a phone usually are holding it in portrait layout. They're walking with it, one hand, thumb, right? So it's the most common thing we see.
Yeah, come back up here, Ted.
All right, so let's check in. All right, so thank you for designing me that beautiful view.
You got it, boss.
You
I
know,
was really happy to
hold
help
on,
you
somebody's
out.
calling me.
No, what? Oh.
What? Beth? What do you mean the order was canceled? When did that happen? Last week? What? How come I'm always the last person to know about this? I had no idea.
I did.
Zach, come
What?
on, man. You got to help me with this stuff.
Okay.
Right.
Man, I just got done helping this guy. Who wants more?
Always want more. How are you going to help me?
I got it.
All
I
right,
got
fine.
it. Just go back to whatever it was you were doing. Poor Ted. He's just surprised. So sounds like something happened with Ted's data. Sort of what I heard. Is this what you heard? Yeah. It sounded like his data was kind of getting away from him. Let's see if we could turn Ted into Jackie Joyner. Help him stay up to date with his data. So 3 ways to kind of help you stay up to date with your data that a lot of people use today. Mobile snapshots. So you saw this in the demo that we just did. You saw that picture of the dashboard before we actually loaded the dashboard. The mobile snapshots are a feature where each individual user can pick a set of favorites off the server and deliver the snapshots that they really care about, the data that they're really interested in. One of the great things about the mobile snapshots is it automatically gets refreshed in the background, so they're available offline. So the server will update the viz and create that image, that snapshot image, and then the phone it calls home and it downloads those new images kind of periodically when you're connected to the network. Yeah, you don't have to open the app. It just kind of does it in the background to get you updated snapshots. Email subscriptions. Are folks using email subscriptions? Yeah. Pretty popular, traditional, I will say, Tableau feature. Email subscriptions are sort of like, I think of them like newspapers, You subscribe to the newspaper, you get it on a specific day, it gives you a set of information that you kind of set yourself up for. Email subscription can be really great, but they sometimes get ignored. Do you notice that they could be cluttery, Yeah, the volume can be a little bit high. Yeah. So because people sometimes ignore email subscriptions, but they like to have them, and people usually tell us they like to have them because that way it's just right in their email. we built this other feature called data-driven alerting. And what data-driven alerting does is it will send you an email when a mark crosses a visual threshold. And this is in Tableau Server 10.3 and above. Data-driven alerts is a little bit different than subscriptions. The way subscriptions work, they have that regular cadence. They send it to you at a specific time. You set a schedule. Data alerts isn't like that. It only sends you email when you need to know. So that way, they're less likely to be ignored. In fact, why don't we just do a little demo? Let's use this for Ted's situation. Sorry, I moved forward a couple slides. Here we are looking at this same sales dashboard. And as I said earlier, Ted really cares about the performance of his team. So he wants me to go ahead and make sure he knows if any of the salespeople get over $450,000 in average order size. That's a pretty big order. I mean, I'd want to know too. That seems pretty big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the access for that visualization. And you'll see this new alert button up in the toolbar. So I'll go ahead and click that. When I do, you'll see this dialog come up. And in the dialog, there are a few different things. First, I can see what the alert is being set on. So it says right here, average order size. I can see what the condition is. So send me an alert if the condition is above or equal to, and then there's a threshold. And the threshold is a static value. So I'm going to type in 450,000. And you'll see when I do this, on the viz in the background, we're visually updating to show you exactly what you're going to get an alert on. That way there's no question. We also kind of hint you right here, hey, by the way, this condition is currently true, so you can understand. We also have the ability to specify a subject for the alert. This is actually the subject of the email you'll receive. And if you think about people kind of going through emails on their phone, kind of just triaging through them, it's really important to get the subject right. Because you can describe a lot in just a few words with something like this. So I'll say salesperson is over 450K, and that'll be the subject. Now I could choose how often I receive these emails. This is not like subscriptions. The way that data alerts works, it's always checking in the background. So I'm not telling it when to go check. I'm telling it how frequently I would like to get email. So if I have a data extract, for example, Tableau will automatically check whenever that data is refreshed by Tableau Server. If I have a data source that I know is ETL nightly or weekly, then I can say, I don't need this thing to check more often. I don't need to be emailed more than once a day, more than once a week. Maybe my business case, even on the same data source, I really care to be notified as quickly as possible. But Ted, he doesn't care. He only cares about it kind of on a weekly basis because that's the way his business works. So each user can kind of choose their own cadence.
Is there any way to tie it to extract being refreshed?
Yes, it automatically checks whenever an extract is refreshed behind the workbook.
As a server administrator, can you set up alerts for other people?
Yes, you can. You can set up alerts for other people. So let's go ahead and just set this to a one-time alert because it's kind of a monotonically increasing value. These deals just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And let's go ahead and add some recipients. So you don't even have to be a server administrator. Anyone can self-serve to add other people to an alert that they created. And one of the great things about alerts is that you keep that list. So if other people subscribe themselves, which it's easy for them to do, you can actually see that they are receiving your alert. Whereas with subscriptions, if you subscribe other people, that's now their subscription. You don't know anymore whether or not they're subscribed. So let's go ahead and add Ted. And we'll create the alert. Now it's checking in the background. Let's go ahead and move over to save away. It's checking in the background. Let's go ahead and move over to my email. We should see that alert email come in just a few minutes. I created one earlier just so that we could look at it while the server is processing. And you'll see right here in the alert mail, I'm going to see exactly which alert was hit. And the reason that I see this is because I may have multiple alerts on a single view. So just seeing the view isn't sufficient. I want to know exactly what got alerted on. And sure enough, the email has come in. You can see I got the mobile version. That's because the server actually runs for email size. That's what it does. And email size, in this case, kind of matched the phone design in my layout. So that'll make it quick and easy for Ted to actually see these things on his phone. All right, Ted, I got you some alerts, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So you can set up alerts whenever like a refresh takes longer than a specific amount of time.
So yes, that's a different type of alert. We could talk about that if you'd like to after. That's not a data alert, that's a server alert. Yeah. Oh, Ted.
Yes.
You know that Ted guy?
Yes.
Check this out, come here. Did you see this new alert that I created? And I created on this salesperson account, Marcia's knocking it out of the park.
What are you going to do? What should you do?
What should we do? Man, this is great. This is great news.
Oh.
Let's put a comment in here.
Okay, go for it.
What do you think we should say to Ted about her?
She's doing a great job. Send her a congratulatory email. I don't know.
You think that's enough?
I don't know.
All
She's rocking it.
Hey, Ted, check out Marcia. Let's add a picture too. We'll add a picture of the viz. That way when Ted gets it,
Okay,
he'll be able to see who we're talking about.
great.
Post this comment. What you're looking at is a new feature 10.4. This is commenting. It makes it possible for me on the server to make a little note to whoever else is viewing the dashboard. You can have a discussion. We can have a discussion across the server. And I can include a copy of what I was looking at. So you see right now that I've selected some content. Here is a picture of that content. And even better, if we go back to what the viz looked like before, if we go all the way back to the beginning before I had selected anything, and come back and view this comment, I can click on the picture and I'll have my context from when the comment was made restored. So I get to see exactly what Ted and Zach were talking about at the time that comment got posted.
Sweet.
Hey, is now a good time to check in with the other Ted?
Let's check in with the other Ted.
Wonder how he's doing.
Man, that was a hard sales call. You know that? Oh, look, what's this in my email? Looks like I got an alert. Something changed. That's a cool email. Let me check to tap it and get more information. Oh, I have a problem. My server is sitting behind the firewall.
Oh, no.
How am I going to get to it from this car?
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
How is he going to get to it?
I have great content, but I can't get to it.
Oh, gosh.
So this gets actually into the next part of the presentation, which is all about how to make this stuff seamless and easy to access for people. Because if it's not, doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter how great the mobile content looks, doesn't matter how actionable it is. You have to jump through hoops to get it. Guess what? Your users aren't going to do it. And so there's really three topics that if you walk away with, you're going to want to have these types of conversations with your friends in your network team, your security team, right? All your partners to help you make this happen. The first one is about access. It's that problem we just talked about. How am I going to get to that server sitting behind my firewall? If you're using a public server, Tableau Online, or Tableau running in a public cloud, you don't have to worry about that. That's one of the nice things about using a SaaS-based product. But a lot of you still have on-premise-based servers. So how are you going to solve that access or tunneling problem? 2, how are you going to make that getting through the front door experience seamless? Users have to fumble around with passwords and jumping through hoops, jumping between apps. Guess what? One more piece of friction that they're not going to do to use the analytics, again, which defeats the whole point. And then the last one is configuration. There's got to be stuff that you can do to help automate this, how to automate the setup, the deployment, the configuration, right, to really make that end user experience shine. And when we get into configuration, we talk about things like mobile device management technologies. And so let me take a minute to just talk very quickly about each one, just so you have some talking points as you go back to your companies. You can have these talking points when you work with your administrators. And then I'm going to show you a demo of what it actually looks like with our environment here at Tableau. So the first one is access, right? Again, if you have to access a server sitting behind your firewall, how do you do it? There's two ways you can do it today. The first one is through VPN. Many of us have used laptops for a long time. We have VPN clients on them, right? We're used to that. But on mobile, people are just starting to get into that. It's not as advanced as the desktop-based infrastructure. So it's a good conversation to have with your IT team. Hey, can we use our existing VPN infrastructure and platform and extend it to mobile? You know, maybe that's cool, and they'll be able to do that. Another common approach customers use is by using a reverse proxy. So this is a gateway sitting at the perimeter of their network that lets select traffic through the network to access the servers sitting behind the firewall, right? So reverse proxy or VPN are the two traditional ways you do it. Each one has its advantages and disadvantages, right? Pros and cons. And each IT department at each company has different security policies and different infrastructure already in place. So it's really a conversation you need to have with your security and network team to figure out what approach will work for your company. The second one is around single sign-on. That's a little picture of the Kerberos in mythology. Tableau supports different single sign-on technologies, right? Integration with Active Directory or SAML or Kerberos. What's nice about this is that you don't have to require users to remember an extra set of credentials, right? You can tie into your corporate infrastructure what they're already using. In addition to that, some of these technologies really allow you to make the experience seamless, right? So if you're using, for example, Kerberos as in this example, if you have the Kerberos certificates on the device, a user actually won't even be prompted to enter in any credentials, right? Kerberos is a certificate-based mechanism that happens behind the scenes. So when you log in, it just sort of works. It's magic. So think about how you can integrate this with your existing single sign-on technology to really make the experience easier for your users, less things to remember. The final piece of advice is how can you automate a lot of this deployment? And usually the way you do that in the mobile ecosystem is by using mobile device management platforms, things like AirWatch, MobileIron, Citrix, BlackBerry, IBM Mass 360. There's 7 or 8 common platforms that customers use. The nice thing about those platforms is they allow companies to manage from a broad, comprehensive view their mobile infrastructure and allow you to automate the deployment of really important things that you'll need for those mobile users. For example, those platforms allow you to push profiles and certificates to the device. So if you have VPN, if you have SSL configured, which is a good security practice, you're going to need some certificates on the client device so that they can securely authenticate. Mobile device management platforms allow you to push those automatically, or you can set them up to automatically push those to client devices. So a user will already have them available to them when they sign in. The other nice thing about these platforms is they allow you to do some types of pre-configuration. So rather than starting with a plain vanilla type of app out of the box where a user has to go in and maybe type in their server name and their credentials and a bunch of other things, as an admin, you can preset some of those things. So as a user, all I'm doing is just tap, 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 and then it just works, right? So anything you can do, again, to remove friction out of the experience is going to make sure you get better adoption. So I thought I would just show you quickly what that actually looks like. So let me switch over to my tablet view. Right. Let me switch from my phone to my tablet. Just take a second here. So the first thing, normally, what you do when you're in a big sort of corporate enterprise is you want to enroll your device in that mobile device management platform. what that looks like is you get an email like this from your administrator saying, hey, come and enroll your device in our platform. And there's different ways you can do that. In this case, this is AirWatch. So for AirWatch, it says I have to download this app called Agent, and then once I'm in the Agent, just sign in with my corporate credentials. So I did that. I have this little Agent app up there in the upper right corner. I did that. By enrolling, I get access to corporate infrastructure, all my corporate apps and policies and security. So I just went into this internal app store that my admins have set up. I can see all the different apps that I have available. For example, I have VPN, I have the Tableau app, I have Outlook, I have lots of other stuff I can install on my device. And so I'll do that. I'll go and pick the apps that I want to install. Sometimes admins push the apps automatically, so a user actually doesn't even have to do anything. And then once I've installed the different apps, I can just go in and use it. So in this case, let me open the Tableau mobile app. Let's see. I'm already signed in to my on-premise server. So Alpo is actually an on-premise Tableau server sitting in Seattle somewhere. So I have access to my internal server. You can see the VPN client automatically got turned on. And I can just tap and go in and access all my favorite visualizations. Right? So I made the experience seamless. My admins made the experience seamless for me. Right? So I'm inclined to use it more than if I had to jump through a lot of hoops. So it's very possible today to get this type of experience. In the past, it was a little bit more difficult. We all know how, when the more friction there is to get in, the less likely you're to do it. So it's a really, really great thing to be able to do this.
Why do you like hockey?
I'm Canadian. All Canadians love hockey, don't they? All right, so are we back on this slide? All right, so I gave you a demo of that. Now, these topics aren't all for the faint of heart, okay? I sort of gave you a very high-level overview and demo. There's actually a little bit more stuff involved to do it. But thankfully, we've written some white papers that can help guide you. We have really good documentation that can help, you show this to your partners in IT, in the VPN group, security, network, right? You can work with them to make all this stuff happen, right? So you'll have access to these resources in the presentation later on. All right, so what have we done so far? We've created really great content. We've made it actionable, okay? And now we've made the access seamless. So the user, Ted, can get to it no matter where he is, right?
Yeah, okay.
All right, so
Yeah.
should we see what happy Ted or what will make Ted happy now that you've got this all in place?
Yeah,
should we try it?
I want to know.
All right, so this is the, we call it the easy as pie demo. 1 second here. Sorry. And this is actually a much nicer pizza. That first pizza you had was disgusting.
That's ridiculous.
Is that what pizza looks like in Seattle? Oh man, that was, I don't know where you found that. That was gross.
I said Ted's from Austin.
Yeah. That was gross. All right, so let me switch back over to my phone. So pretend I am Ted, the busy sales manager, and we're going to replay that scenario one more time, okay? Oh man, that was such a difficult call, but I think I closed the deal. Thank goodness. I'm off to my next one. Oh, look, looks like something important happened. Looks like one of my sales guys is doing good. Let me see. Oh, looks like Marsha's done pretty well. Let me tap and get more details on that. Oh, cool. It just opened right in place on my phone so I could see it. Oh, wow, look, I have all the information at my fingertips. It looks great. It's mobile optimized. I can go in and explore the data if I want. I can go see if there's any interesting facts. So maybe I'll go in. It looks like Zach left a comment for me. Oh, hey, Ted, check out Marsha. I can go in and see. Oh, wow, looks like Marsha's doing great. That is awesome. I'm really proud of her. She's a really great rep. Maybe what I'll do is I'll send her a quick congratulation email while I'm thinking of it. I only have a minute. Why don't I go and share? Maybe I will send her a nice picture. We saw this on the Tableau conference does on stage, this great new feature.
Tableau conference? You were at Tableau conference?
I know. Can you believe it?
I went to Tableau conference.
I know. But look at this.
There.
I can quickly mark up a thing. I can say, great job. You know, I only have a minute here, so I'll just do this as fast as I can. You know, great job. I'll click send. I'll send her an email. You know, put Marcia in. Say, great job. And just like that, it was so easy. I was done. Like, it took me 1 minute to get to that quick insight, do that quick action to thank my rep, and that was it.
How do you feel?
I feel really good.
You feel really good?
I
would you
do.
Say, would you go as far as to say that you feel happy?
I am super happy.
You're happy?
Yes.
What? That's good.
This was taken at Disneyland earlier this year. If you go, I highly recommend Splash Mountain.
Ted's happy. We helped him. We helped Ted. All right. Yeah, sessions. So this was a pretty high-level overview of all of the content. We have these other sessions at conference. Also recommend that you check out. You still have time to go to this Deploy and Enjoy today. The others, you can kind of pick them up. Please do complete your session evaluations. Really important to us for the speakers. We use them to improve every year. We also use them to determine whether or not content is valuable for the next time and whether we should repeat the content. So very important. You can help us all. And this is the end. This is our recipe we produced for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the flavor of it. How to dialogue with data across mobile with the Tableau desktop and the device designer server. We showed you things like snapshotting and commenting, subscriptions and alerts, and staying up to date anytime, anywhere access from your mobile devices.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks so much, and we'll take any questions you have
Yeah,
on
thank you
these
for-
topics
thank you
or
for
anything else
coming.
you might want to talk about.
Yeah, we can consult on anything. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I was just wondering, I noticed the Tableau app selection box when you were in Device Designer. What does that actually do?
The preview.
The
like-
preview.
When you get that little checkbox at the top?
Oh, where it says app, Tableau mobile app. So yeah, so
This one here.
So what that does is the Tableau mobile app has its own, if you remember, it has its own menu bar at the top of the screen where there's like little tools to undo and redo. That accounts for the little bit of extra space that takes up. So in the preview mode, when you have that checked, you can get a slightly better sense how much screen real estate you're actually using because of that, the extra space.
I have a few questions, but
Yeah.
I accumulated them when I was going. On the map on the top, it's kind of where your finger would swipe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How do you prevent them, because I put the map on the bottom. Yeah, how do you manage that?
That's a really good question. And we talked about this. We sort of debated whether to put it at the top or the bottom. The thing about that map is, and maybe we can sort of demo it on the phone. If you have it at the top like that, maps have kind of funny selection behavior that's different than other things. And they're so big, they use up all the visual space. If I'm down here, I can scroll with my thumb. And this is why it's so important to try this out on the device. If I do it up here, I get something else, right? And so maybe that's not a desirable behavior. One thing you can do is put the map at the bottom. And that way you don't get into this problem. There are other things you can do. One of the things that Phil from our dashboard team always recommends is just to keep some scrollable space on one side. So it's always easy to kind of find something that you can tap on and scroll with. Another thing we were talking about earlier is you can lock the map.
Mm-hmm. So you can, there's in the map options, you can go and say lock, pan and zoom, so it's a static map. That's another approach we've seen. Another thing that's coming soon is that we are looking at, always looking at how to improve the touch experiences. And so there's a team focused on that. One of the things they're doing is trying to do a better job sort of interpreting gestures and intent. And so one of the new things you're going to see in an upcoming version of Tableau is we've sort of divided the interaction experience into two sort of modes. There's going to be like a selection mode, where you actually want to tap and select and interact, and like a glance mode. And so by default, we're going to actually go start out in glance mode. So when you do these type of operations, it's actually just going to be like a flick, and it should pan the entire dashboard. So that we are changing it based on user feedback, and so you can look forward to that in an upcoming version of Tableau.
Can we take someone else's question, and then we will come back to you? You have a list. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So my question was about tooltips.
Tooltips.
I work in web development, and it's sort of common practice, when you have a mouse, when you hover over things in Tableau, you get that sort of brief little bit of information. But from what I've seen, when you tap, it's actually just sort of digging in deeper.
Uh-huh.
Are there any thoughts about sort of a double tap to dig and then using a single tap for some of those tooltip options?
Yeah, so another thing that we're working on right now.
Maybe let's repeat the question for the replay.
Yes, so let's
forgot
repeat
about
the
that.
question for the replay.
Yes,
says
people
Ted.
who aren't in the room.
Thank you, Ted.
Yes.
The question was, what about tooltips? Because the default behaviors in Tableau Server are usually hover behaviors for actions. And hover, of course, doesn't exist conceptually on a mobile device. So what do you do about it? What do you do about it with touch? In this case, we didn't do any optimization. But usually what I will do is replace all of the hover actions with click actions. Because if you replace them, then you know discretely what's going to happen. It's going to be the same behavior on desktop as it is on mobile. And that way, you're not assuming it's going to have a certain behavior on desktop and then getting to mobile and being surprised that things don't seem to work right. However, that's not ideal because hover is useful on desktop. So we're doing some work right now on something we call smooth tooltips. Which will enable mobile users specifically, and this sort of gets into what Ted was talking about, to get a hover behavior. So you can kind of move around when you're in this glance mode with your finger, and the tooltips will just kind of pop up as you kind of hover over them, as you're sliding over them, as if you were hovering over them. And that's a new feature that'll be coming in a future version of Tableau Mobile. Yeah. Yes, other questions?
So the seamless behavior, is it dependent on basically just using the native clients? Because we use, the Outlook client for email, and for access to our server, we have the AirWatch browser. So, having that seamless, is there a way to configure that, or is that coming? Or?
Yeah, there's definitely ways to configure that today. We started adding support for mobile device management last year. So we support doing app deployments through AirWatch. You can use a web browser today. There's a flexible deployment model on Tableau. So you can use an app, you can use a web browser. You can actually embed Tableau in other apps. So if you have people already going to apps, you just want to embed analytics in there, you can do that. So there's a flexible approach, but yes, we have really good documentation around how you can, if you like that app experience you saw and sort of interacting with that and just getting in quickly, we have really great documentation that you can go to figure out how to do that.
So if I was in the Outlook app,
Yeah.
there's a link there, and I clicked on it, and I wanted that to show up in the AirWatch browser.
Yes, yes. So that should work today. If you wanted it to actually open in the app, if you wanted to take it a step further and open in the app, there's sort of an intermediate step today. What happens is the link will first open in a web browser, and then you see a little banner at the top saying, hey, tap here to open in the app. Mm-hmm. For Tableau Online, you can actually just tap the link, and it will open directly in the app.
Yeah. The banner experience is actually still a pretty good improvement because when you go to the browser, you end up with having to sign in because your cookies, et cetera. And the mobile device tries to re-sign you in the background all the time, so it'll keep your cookie fresh. And if you tap on that banner, it'll sign you straight into the mobile device, and you don't have to type in username and password, which saves people a lot of time.
Sure. There's one right there.
Yes. So the question is it different on mobile browser and mobile app to design in the device designer? No, it's basically the same. It's basically the same. The app has basically a web host, and so some of the benefits of mobile will come through whether you're in the browser or in the app. Like some of the experiences, for example, I think the size of this drop down here. Oh, I can't click that. It's on a phone.
It's not an emulator.
Yes. Like the size of this drop down, for example, that we put some time and energy into making this work well for touch, which it needs to be larger. The text needs to be larger in the touch targets. However, we also have other things in the mobile app like sharing that you saw Ted give a demo of earlier. We have the commenting experience, stuff like that is specific to the mobile application, and it works better in the mobile application. So the content can be optimized and work in both places, but the app is really the best experience. The main benefit of the app is the snapshots, so you get access to that data when you're not connected. And on phones, it's really common for you to be semi-connected, so connected some of the time. Yeah. Other questions? Would you like to ask more questions?
Sure.
Let's repeat them too.
Yeah.
So the comments, do they actually show on your mobile phone? Like, so I know you click comments and you can see them, but like, can you get alerted that they're there? Like, you had to go in there. Like,
Right.
you know they're there.
Right. So the question is, how do you know there are new comments on your vises so you can go and check them on the mobile device? So right now you don't. Right now you have to check, and that's just the first version of the feature. There's another aspect of the first version of the feature that's interesting, which is you can't delete comments. So the way to delete a comment is actually to delete the workbook and then republish it. It'll delete all the comments. We're working on the ability to delete comments. We're working on the ability to at mention somebody. So if you put their name in with an at symbol, then they will get an email telling them there's a new comment on whatever viz, and then you can tap on it.
Also on the thumbnails, I just want to clarify. So if you publish with the mobile phone representation shown, you're saying that the snapshot that's shown in your favorites, it'll be like sort of this more narrow phone look?
Yeah, so the question was, I said something about if you publish when you've selected the phone layout or the tablet layout or the desktop layout, you get a different tile on the server. That server tile is not the same as the snapshot that you'll get to your device. So the device will get the snapshot for itself. It will be a snapshot of the image that you would see if you loaded the dashboard. So if you've got one dashboard that's optimized for both tablets and phones, then you'll get a snapshot for the tablet on the tablet, a snapshot for the phone on the phone. And that's a little bit different than the server tile, which that tile only gets updated when you publish a workbook.
And one last question.
Yes, Sue?
So if you have snapshots offline, right? Because I think we may have lost this capability. And you have your enterprise customer, right? You have all of these different layers of security. So if you are offline and you try to get into your app and you get prompted for your password, right? And because it wants you to log into your network,
Uh-huh.
and you can't, right? Because you're not online.
Yeah.
So how do you get to your snapshots?
Yeah, so it won't, if it can't get to your network, it's not going to prompt. So the question is, you know, if you're offline at some point in time during your day on your app and you want to get to your snapshots, but you get prompted to enter your credentials and then you can't, you somehow can't enter your credentials, what happens to your snapshots? Some version of that, right, Sue?
Well,
Okay.
how do I see them?
Yeah, how do you see them? Yeah, so the important thing to remember is that if you're ever prompted for your credentials, it's because you are connected. So if the mobile app will prompt you, it's because you do have a connection to your server and it's trying to revalidate that you're still you and you have access. And if you don't provide the right credentials, if you mess up or you have too many failed attempts, it will actually log you out of the app because the app will think there's a potential security issue here, and it would actually be safer to log you out than potentially expose your data to maybe somebody who's trying to get into your phone. However, if you're not connected, you won't be prompted for those credentials. And so you won't have that opportunity to sort of sign yourself out unless you explicitly tap that sign out button.
Good. Did we get all your questions, Sue?
Wait. Yeah.
Okay, you can come talk to us.
Wait. So the other related thing to that is, the app does do some caching, right? To get those snapshots, it does have to cache those high-resolution images. It does cache them securely. It's encrypted. That capability, you can turn it off. It's controllable on the server site level, so that's not something you want. You can easily turn it off, and it won't do that. However, when you uninstall the app, when you sign out, all the stuff that it previously cached will get removed from the device.
Great. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks so much.